Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode number 255 of the Audible Farm Podcast, and this episode is brought to you by the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Be sure to go to www.fdfineartsassociation.org to find out more about their cause. They believe the art should be accessible to everyone, and so do we, and it's such a great cause. So be sure to check out their website, check out their podcast, FDT. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the outro, and check out their community calendar as well. It's a great thing. This episode, I'm sitting down with Scott Kirkhart. Scott has been on the podcast before. As a matter of fact, since I rebooted the podcast, he's one of the only people that's been on twice. He was in the Thanksgiving episode, but I'm going to interview him again because he's got a great cause coming up. Broken Strings has a golf outing coming up, and we'll talk about that in the episode. But it's a really kind of cool story how this came to be and what's happening and some new things that are happening in the Broken Strings camp, which if you don't know about Broken Strings, there's going to be links down below, and we'll talk about it a little bit in the episode. But it's such a great cause. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm glad to have him back. It's number 255 with Scott Kirkhart.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
Sitting down today with Scott Kirkhart. Scott, you've been on the podcast before, obviously.
A couple times.
You were the first guest when the podcast came back.
Hashtag bring back Audible Farm.
Yes, sir. I don't want to say you're the only reason, but you're like one of the key factors as to why this podcast even came back in the first place.
That's good because, it was needed.
It's kind of shocking. I figured I'd come back and it would just be like, meh, nobody cares. But a lot of people are watching and listening. It's
Everybody cares, dude.
It's wild. The other thing that's crazy is if you go to YouTube, you can see the views. And some of the ones that have the least amount of views, if you go to the audio, you look at how many people listen, and those are the most listened to episodes. So it's kind of even though they look, the stats might be skewed, every episode has 100 plus at least.
That's awesome.
And I don't know, I went to a seminar once and somebody was just like, if you have a podcast and 100 people a week listen, it doesn't seem like you're like Joe Rogan. You're not going to make it famous. It's not a huge deal. But if you had the ability once a week to stand in an auditorium with somebody else and talk, and 100 people were sitting there listening, that's a big deal now.
That's a big deal.
So that's basically, I was just like, oh yeah, okay, this really isn't that bad, I get it. At its peak, it was 500 to 1,000 every week, which was wild too to think about.
Lot.
I don't know. So, but it's really cool that this is back. You were on episode 220, I believe, which was the first one after the solo episode when I came back. So you're back again. It's episode 250 something, maybe. I don't know. So it's been a while, but
I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So you and I are both coming off the heels of playing for the weekend. We got done playing for the weekend as we're recording this, and we're both quite tired.
It was a late night.
Yeah, it's funny when you're just man, I didn't get home till 2, and it's just well, I didn't get home till 3. It's oh dang, I don't feel so bad.
Late
now.
night and early morning. I had those guys cutting my tree down in the front yard.
Oh yeah. There's a whole tree missing out there now.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, the picture window looks more like a picturesque thingy. There's no, well, I don't know, but it's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's fun when you think about you don't have a day job, quote unquote, anymore, but you do have a job with Broken Strings. So you do things like networking and trying to line things up basically all day and night.
All day.
Yeah. It's whenever somebody needs you, you're just all right, here I am. And you get on there and you do the thing. But to do that, and then you add a whole nother one of those where it's now I play music, and people could message you at noon when you're going out to eat and be like, hey, do you want to play here tonight? Because we had a scheduling issue. Yep. And that's how you booked another show this week.
It happens a lot. Yep. Right.
Going out to eat lunch, and that's pretty awesome though. But I think some of that also comes back to just you're such a big supporter. You're not just supporting live music in general. You go out and watch all your friends play. You go to these places that book you even when you're not.
Yeah, if I can, I want to. I want to go see my friends play too. Yeah, that's the best part about it, I think. But that's what I love about our area up here, anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a little touch of heaven as far as when you got all the musicians here supporting all their musicians. Look at all of our friends. And any given day, if they have the day off, somebody shows up to a gig if you're playing, right? I mean,
it's super fun when people show up after their show is over, and you're in the home stretch of your show, and that's usually when it kind of starts to clear out at some venues. It's okay, we're in the midnight ish, 1 o'clock ish, somewhere in that area, and it's all of a sudden from across town comes somebody that you know from Fort Dodge. And you're like, oh, where'd you just get done playing? I was like, oh, I just got done playing over at XYZ or whatever. And it's like, oh, sweet. They came over here when they got done packing up. That's super cool.
And that's what's great about this area is that we do support each other. You know, like it was last weekend. We had a little going away jam for Cole. I didn't know anything about it till like 2 days before. Next thing you know, we got me, Jesse, and Ober, and you. I mean, everybody's showing up, and it was just, wow, what a great night. Dude, I mean, it was a great night.
That was super fun. And
that was fun.
That was one of those where, like, I had played like the night before and I was playing the night after or something like that.
Me
or the
too.
day after. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay. Do I want to do something on my day off when I'm like, recording podcasts after work and stuff like, the time off, I've learned to appreciate it now, but it's just like, I'll go over there. And my new thing is like, I'll go. Even if I don't play, I'll still go just to watch it. Because then, like, at least I can go for an hour and dip out and enjoy it. And I was there.
Irish goodbye, everybody.
Bingo, yeah, which I'm kind of good at. But
me too.
But it was fun because I showed up. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know who was going to be there. I knew that kind of like Cole was sort of like not really hosting it, but kind of hosting it. You know, I think like he said he was just kind of like, we want to do a jam. Oh yeah, sounds good. And they're like, all right, you find a place. And he was like, oh, okay.
Manson Event Center. Perfect.
Yeah. And it was kind of like a family reunion for like some part of his family too. I think it was mixed in.
Smother's side.
Yeah. So like, and they have a lot of musicians, that they're either related to or
they
like,
do. Cole comes from a big family of musicians. Yeah.
Which is pretty wild. The fun part about that was like you showed up and it's, I think Ober was up there. Vince Benishek was up there, which I didn't expect to see him. But at the same time, I was like, well, it's Manson and he'll probably swing over because he's not too far away. And he was up there playing and stuff. And I don't get to see him play enough, so it was fun to watch.
It was. I just like watching. And there's a lot of times I go to jams, even on Thursday, and they're like, "You want to play?" And I'm like, "No, go ahead. Let somebody else do it." And I like watching. Some, like Love Bomb and people that I don't get to see very often play. So I just enjoy it. I love those jam nights like that.
Yeah, I mean that was a good time, And I think the other fun thing about going to those jams is like, and I'm sure you deal with this too, is like you go up there and you don't get to play your instrument, right. So it's kind of fun playing other people's
instruments,
or like
there's some nice guitars there and there's some nice drum sets sitting there. Right? Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, and I think about some of that stuff where like we go to Barnum and it's like, well, this is kind of lawless. Not everybody's mic'd up, and it's just kind of like that's kind of what this jam was like too. Everybody just brings an amp in and sets it up, and I'm not one to twist knobs. If it worked for somebody else, I'll make it work for me, kind of person. That'd be like. Somebody was just like, I'll loan you my car, for the weekend. It's like, all right, I'm gonna do a big tune-up on it. Like, I'm not gonna do any of that stuff,
Right.
I'll just run it like it is.
The jams, speaking of, Ashton came up to me and he says, hey man, I'm thinking about bringing a Tuesday back, but maybe like one a month, like what, we don't want to interfere with Thursday. And I was like, he said, would you be interested? And I was like, listen, I would love to, but right now I'm booked all summer long. But this fall I'll come over and, do a couple. I don't want to do them all the time, but maybe we could share, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, that might be a great idea. So
yeah,
maybe the Barnum Jam might be coming back on
that's
Tuesday.
The Barnum Jam. Yeah, I've seen him around here and there, which is weird because I work in the Fort Dodge area now, so every now and then I'll see people in passing, and I've seen him like 2 or 3 times in the last few months, and every time it's just like he's like, yeah, I keep thinking about bringing the jam back, and it's like, all right, So
I miss the Barnum Jam.
I do too.
It was close. It's quiet on a Tuesday night. Perfect.
Yeah, it was really good. Like it's hard to describe. Like in a place like that, like what, like it's like capturing this weird lightning in a bottle every single week. You never know who's going to show up. You never know what's going to happen. And I mean, that was one where like, I just bring an amp, I plug a guitar in it, and it's like, I know what my settings are. Just do whatever you want. So sometimes people are cranking up the distortion and playing crazy stuff or whatever. It's just so fun to go in there to those types of places.
I think it builds camaraderie, friendships. Look how many bands spawned off of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically how I got started playing music in this area. Because like I had played with a punk band down in Des Moines, and that's kind of like an isolated thing. So it's like, I know these guys and we practice here, and then we go to shows, and that's when I interact with people.
Yeah.
This is more like you're taking, instead of like all those practices and stuff with an isolated group of people, you're just going to this thing that you don't know who's going to be there, and you're just kind of goofing off.
Right.
And you never know what's going to happen because of it, and that's how I started playing with Clint, and that's how I started playing with Jesse. And it's weird because those jams, and I've talked about it before, but like I played bass a lot of those jams because nobody ever played bass.
Right.
Brad would show up, but if it's anything remotely farming season, he's going to be doing that because that's his job, you know? So it's like, all right, well, we're not going to, no bass, I'll just bring mine, you know? And I'd play bass with people, and it was fun because that's how I started playing with Jesse. I was playing bass with him originally.
Yeah,
so.
Isn't that crazy how that works out?
Yeah, it's wild.
You know, and the best part about that is not only did it spawn bands, but all of us playing together build a level of comfort that we all have with each other, where literally I could say on any given night, I could say, hey man, these guys want a full band. Pete, can you come and play lead? Ober, can you come and play lead? I need a drummer, and I can mix them together, and I know it's going to be a quality product. I know it's going to be.
Absolutely.
And that's what, you know, that's kind of cool with the whole, and that's another thing that Jam Nights did, you know, in Barnum, especially Barnum.
Yeah, I mean.
And Third Thursday. Gina's always puts on a good one. I mean,
and Ober hosts that one, and he kind of makes sure people play with other people. So you get out of your comfort zone on purpose.
Yes,
you know?
right.
And like you said, like just having these people that are interchangeable within bands is very, very important. And it's one of those. I just think about like I've done a few shows with Ober when he needed somebody else, you know, and so like that. A huge confidence booster. I played a show with Jeremy Ober. That's freaking cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so like there's that. But then I remember like playing Ragbri once. You booked a full band gig, and then the band like wasn't all able to come. So what we did was we pieced together a different show.
Yeah.
Where it was you and Jesse. You'd split time, and then you'd come together and join, and then you'd split again, and then you'd come back together. And I was there, and you were playing shows with Brady O'Brien at the time. So like,
that's right.
He was there playing keys.
You played lead guitar, right? Yeah.
What a cool combo.
That was neat.
You know,
that was a Newell Ragbri. Yeah, that's right.
Packed.
That was fun.
That was a really good time.
But that's the best part about Jam Nights is it does. You know, I mean, there's a level of confidence and a level of camaraderie that we have in this area, or people that have played together. I mean, I've played with Ober, I played with Jesse, I played with you, I played with Cole. You know, I mean, Caleb Ferry, Brad Hofing. I mean, all those guys. Still haven't got Brad on the podcast, by the way.
No, I haven't, Brad.
Bradable Farm.
I know you're listening, Brad.
Yeah.
But I even think about like mixing things up. So like there was a show recently where I couldn't go because I had prior obligations playing a show with Jesse. So instead of doing a duo show, he was like, well, maybe I'll do a trio show and bring a couple different people with. So he brought Brad and Taylor with. So he brought a bass player and a fiddle player. And I mean, he plays with them anyways, but he's never played just the three of them.
Just the three of them.
Which is kind of like a weird new thing, you know? So, but I guarantee you that worked out so well.
Oh, I'm sure. And Taylor's a great fiddle player. I mean, amazing.
And those combos of things I like to look at with like, Jesse's played duo shows with like just Dave Schmieder on strings. So it's like the steel guitar, pedal steel. So it's like I think about that kind of stuff too, where you end up with these like combinations you wouldn't normally think of coming out of shows.
But it's fun to watch how people grow as musicians that way, and it's nice seeing. You know, I mean, then you even got like Owen O'Brien came in as a younger kid and thrashed it, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at Love Bombs coming in as younger kids. Look at Spencer Sukan, and I mean, you know, and it's just like, this is great.
Yeah.
Are we the old guys now?
We are the old guys now, dude. I think I talked about it on the last episode, but like I went to go see Love Bomb play recently, and they played a song that when I was in high school we played, which was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's actually a recording of it, like almost 20 years to the day from when I had seen them. So there's like a recording online of us playing.
Oh, really?
From 20 years ago. And it's like, holy crap. Like, we played this song, and now you're playing this song. And this song was like 2 years old when we played it.
Wow.
You know? So, I don't know. Some of that stuff just makes me just be like, wow, this is crazy.
What a compliment for a songwriter, too.
Yeah.
I mean, look, how do you write those songs? The songs that are 20 years later, people are still singing along with them.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see those... this YouTube footage of Queen, they're singing Bohemian Rhapsody, and it wasn't even Queen. They were playing it before the concert in front of like 80,000 people, and 80,000 people start singing Bohemian Rhapsody. And it's 30, 40 years old already? I mean, look at that. How cool is that?
That is pretty wild.
Yeah, it's crazy how songs and the younger generation coming up and...
Yeah, I mean, even if you think about like songs that you play that are X amount of years old, and there's people that are, you know, just out of college at bars that are singing along with you, and it's like, man, this song was old when I started, when I heard it, and you still know the words, like, I mean, there's obvious ones, like we played Sweet Caroline last night and people were just like just screaming,
I did the same thing. Yeah, those are a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, so there's a few of those, and it's like, this is funny that you
should have been a Cowboys, always one of those.
Bingo. Yeah. I mean, we always have a few in our back pockets where it's like, these are the like maybe 10 or whatever. You always have them in the back of your mind. Like, if one song didn't hit, just like blend, just start playing this.
That's all you have to do, right?
Yes. All of a sudden the heads snap to the side.
Oh, yep.
All right, dance floor fills up.
I think that that's the best part about being a musician and working the crowds and getting a feeling, interacting with the crowd and getting a feeling for what they're wanting, and just by playing the music that you're playing and listening and seeing what their bodies are doing, I mean, you can just roll with them, and that gets them going. There's times I played the Remsen St. Mary's Catholic Ball is what it was. They do it every year, and I played for 3 hours and 37 minutes straight through because I had 50 people out on the dance floor the whole time. So why not just keep going?
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was a blast, but that's probably the most rewarding as a musician, is just watching the people out there just having fun and enjoying. And God gave us this ability to entertain people, and not everybody can do it. And
yeah,
I'm sure glad that we are.
Yeah, that also makes me think about, and this is going to be like a weird thing, but like how many people don't use their talents to entertain people? It's just something they have, and you go to these jam nights and it's just like, where the hell did this guy come from?
Oh yeah, I've seen it a lot over the years.
I remember, I mean, I'm not trying to call anyone out, but I played at a recent jam night. It's like, I don't know this person actually. And then you start asking around, it's like, oh, they were playing in bands like 15, 20 years ago and they just don't now or whatever, but they still play.
Yeah.
So there's stuff where, like, even though I've been doing this podcast forever, I still haven't found everybody, No,
and I don't think you ever will. I mean, there's people that play guitar that in their basement, and they don't ever come out of their basement and play guitar.
Yeah, and they're better than,
and they're incredible.
And better than any of us ever would.
There was a guy here in Manson that was that way, and all of a sudden he came out to a jam night at Byron's one night. This is probably 7 years ago maybe, and he was singing the high harmony parts, and he's ripping on electric, and I'm like, where did you come from?
Yeah. I think about that kind of stuff. It's like, man, I don't know if you don't know this, but like, somebody could just nab you up and you could make a couple $100, like
literally,
it wouldn't take too much to play a couple shows and whatever. But some people, that's not their thing. And
nope, it isn't.
But also I think we're desensitized to that too a little bit. 'Cause like if somebody calls, like, for instance, I'm just throwing it out there, like I played in Alton this last weekend, which is by Orange City. And if you go to the
train station,
Fort Dodge, yes, that's where it was. Yeah. Awesome place. But if you go from like the Fort Dodge area up there, it's like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
So if you look at somebody, you're like, you want to drive 2 hours to play a show? They're kind of like, not really, like to somebody just on the outside that doesn't, it just
not on the road all the time and not used to driving.
Yeah. So you got 2 hours there, 2 hours back, an hour of setup, an hour of tear downs. There's 6 hours, then a 3-hour show. So you're taking 9 hours
out of your day,
out of your Saturday, which was very nice Saturday, So to some people listening to this that don't play shows or won't play shows or maybe even non-musicians, they're like, I never thought of it like that. Like you not waste, but you spend a lot of time in your car
on the road,
just doing stuff, that doesn't count. Oh, I had to pack my car up. Now I have to take all this stuff out of my car.
Right.
Oh, I had to practice for this show. I bought a new piece of gear to make my life easier, but now I have to spend 3 hours figuring out how it fits into my setup and how to tear it down and set it up the best.
It's a nice part. I got my son back from college, so this summer he's rolling with me again, and so it's great because I taught him how to set everything up.
Oh, yeah.
And then he comes and runs sounds, and then he runs a merch table on top of it. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I'm out mingling with everybody after the show, he'll walk up to me and be, "Hey, Dad, we're done. Time to roll."
Yeah.
Oh, all right, let's go. See you later.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Dude, the setup and teardown thing is super fun because usually when I get to shows, I try to show up early, but for some reason, Jesse's almost always there before me. So it's like, oh, everything's already pretty much set up.
Yeah.
So the opposite end of that is like the teardown. It's just like, all right, well, Jesse, his name's on the billboard, so he's got to go out front and talk to the people that are there. Not that nobody wants to talk to me, but it's like, well, I'm if somebody wants to, they'll come to the
They'll
side
come
of
up
the
and talk to you, yeah.
come up and talk to me. Otherwise, I'm taking speakers off stands and setting them on the ground, winding cords and stuff.
Yep.
That's easy, you know. I'll do that, and that's I think that's the part of the job a lot of people forget. You know, is there's that kind of thing, and it's fun to watch like new people come into a band, and it's like. Let's just say somebody comes in and they got a very minimal setup and they're packed up and gone in like 3 minutes. They'll come back and they'll just like look around like, what should I do? And it's just like, yeah, wind chords. Like, you know, just do.
You know, the 3 hours that we play, or 3.5 or 4, whatever gig you booked, that's the fun part. That's our part, right? The 3 hours it takes to get there and set up, and the 3 hours it takes to get back home, and then the next morning checking your emails and seeing if you got any other, you know, because you usually have other gig offers and stuff like that. So, and then you got to do artwork, and then you got to call the venues and book you and get your booking, and then you know, and then send out contracts and
post
stuff.
your once a week thank you for playing at this show, and
and you're constantly on social media. That's just the fun part of my job.
Yeah.
You hear the sarcasm?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, and it's weird because I actually don't mind being on social media and doing that stuff. But the thing is, it's the after effects. When you get all the comments and all the stuff, the upkeep is the stuff. It's like, I don't want to deal with this.
The upkeep is a lot.
That's a lot, you know, but I'm all about like, let's create some content and do something weird or whatever.
And there's so much content, or there's so many places to create content. So, okay, so let's make a video. We make a video, right? We're in a garage jamming. All right, well, that's going to go on Instagram, which then in turn is going to go on Facebook. And then we better make a TikTok out of the deal. And you may as well put this on social media. And then if you have some other app that, you know, you want to use, you got to put it on there too.
Yep.
It's a full-time job.
It honestly is. The only thing I will say is like, and this is just because I have a job doing this, is like creating like a checklist or like a flow chart kind of helps. But then you have to like, all right, I need half an hour after I've did all the stuff and recorded it. I need a half an hour to sit at a laptop and do some things real quick. And then maybe it's not quite a half an hour or whatever, but to like polish it all up, you're like, all right, here we go. Yeah. And now I got it all.
And I usually take like an hour. And the best part about Facebook and Instagram is that you could schedule posts.
Yes.
So then you can put some thought into them. You're in that zone for an hour or whatever. Put some thought into them. Schedule them for this certain times.
That is pretty baller.
That helps.
Yes. The only thing I don't like about that is you used to be able to schedule out, I think, up to 6 months on Facebook, but now it's 1 month. Which is just their ploy to get you to come back to their app and do more stuff on it, which understandable, whatever. But I don't know. I liked it a lot more back in the day because I could just schedule stuff out into the seemingly infinite future.
Yeah.
You know, if you have something you're going to post, you know, like, oh, here's a reminder to go to my YouTube channel or whatever, you know, if you're going to post something like that every Sunday, you know, like you could schedule it out for half a year and only do it once and it would take you half an hour and be like, there.
Yeah.
I have a post every week, you know, but now I have to do that every month and you have to remember it's like, oh, it's the first of the month. I got to go through and make more posts.
You know, and then you're trying to promote shows, right? And I think every artist does a pretty good job of promoting shows.
Dude, yes and no. Cause like the thing I want to say is, I don't want to cut you off, but like we see it and we know like some of our friends see it, but how many times have you gone places where people stumble in and they're like, oh,
we didn't know you were there.
I didn't know you were in town or whatever. And maybe they don't because it didn't come across on their Facebook because how do you know their Facebook isn't just, you know,
the algorithm,
you know, dog pictures or something, you know,
it could be, or pictures of watches. So I looked up, I was like, oh, I want a new watch thing, you know, and I've been looking at watches. Next thing I know, I got 50 advertisements for watches.
Oh my gosh, comes up. That's awesome.
Yeah. Great.
I've been down that road before.
Yeah.
If you're a watch guy, I can give you a couple links to some fun places.
But that's the part that people don't see is that's the backgrounds of, yes, we have a great time when we're playing, but everything else that leads up to it, you know. And then you want new merch. You got to figure out do you want to use your old logo? Do you want to come up with a new logo? What kind of merch are you going to come up with? It's never ending. Which is, you know. But here's the funny part about that is I worked for FedEx for 20 years, right? And I went to work and I came home and work was there. Mm-hmm. And I would much rather spend 23 hours of my day doing something that I love doing.
Yeah.
Than not doing something that I don't enjoy doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
not work anymore.
Yeah, you're just working for the man. It's always there. You wake up, it's going to be there. You go to sleep, it's going to come back the next day. It's just this droning on and on and on thing that you have no control over. You're basically, I think of that kind of stuff where it's just like, I did all this work, and then when all the money's just like, I don't touch any of the money, and then I just rely on like this big corporation to just be like, here's your trickle down.
Here's your paycheck.
It just gets a little like, after a while, you're just like,
and I enjoy it. I guess I enjoy playing music. That's my favorite part. But there's something about a Monday morning grabbing a cup of coffee and going and back. And I heard this song the other day.
Yep.
I'm going to learn this song quick, you know, and then grab my guitar and pick up and learn that song quick. And then next thing you know, I'm doing artwork or something like that. You know, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I would assume it's probably more fulfilling to wake up at 8 on a Tuesday so you can leave by 9 to get to Northwest Iowa to give away a guitar for Broken Strings than it is to...
Or even going, like I went down, Lee Klett found another one of ours. He's one of our ambassadors for Broken Strings, and he found another kid, and he says, hey, they want to do this. They want to give this away at the band night, And I was like, well, do you want me to come down and do it with you? Oh, yeah, that'd be great. And I was like, okay. So I drove clear over by Iowa City. I drove like 3 hours, 3.5 hours or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And for 12 minutes. And then drove back another 3.5 hours home. Yeah. But whatever. I mean,
you are like the spokesperson though. So like,
yeah, I mean, this was my idea, I guess. And here we go. We got to do it.
But it's more enjoyable because it's your idea.
You're right. It was my idea, and now it's so much more than that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy over the last 4 years what it's grown into right now, and it's just like you look at it and it's like, wow, I didn't think that was going to happen, but here it did, and so it's fun. Yes, it was my idea. Yes, and it was just an idea. Here we go, right? Here it is. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons I brought you on, back on to talk on the podcast again, was you do have an event coming up. So Broken Strings, you guys have an event that's a golf outing that's coming up, and you guys have been gaining a lot of traction lately. And I want to just be like, from like famous people, but it's like, people that are well-known people that are like joining in on the cause in some capacity, cool. And, or at least trying to help you out with what you're doing.
Yeah. And it was all by accident.
So let's talk about this.
So I'm going to say something here. Everything that I just kind of live, and I kind of live in my life this way, is just kind of by accident, right? I picked up guitar by accident. Thought it was pretty cool. Here I am 25 years later playing music full time. Broken Strings was just an idea that we had, right? By accident, and here it is. Nick Nurse, the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, NBA basketball. He's a Carroll Kemper grad. Had no idea.
Wow.
Loves music, supports music, plays music. And my treasurer, he bought the golf course out at Carroll, which was Carroll Country Club. Now it's called Carroll National. And he's spending some of his money that he's made, and he's putting it back into his hometown again.
Yeah.
And my treasurer, Wade Wilkie, had supper with him one night at the country club, right? And Wade printed up a letter and just handed it to him nonchalantly. And I'm sitting in the garage one Sunday morning out here, and all of a sudden my phone dings. Here's an email from Nick Nurse. I'm like, what's this?
Yeah.
Who's this, right? And and it says, hey, we read your letter. We're really interested in doing something and helping you guys out. And what a great deal, right? So that's kind of how Nick Nurse jumped on board.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and now we're having a golf outing at his golf course.
All right.
Sounds like he's going to be there, which is even cool, right? And then one morning, Jason Hacker, the president of Broken Strings, says to me, he says, hey, we got a message from Annie Gester, I think is what her last name was. And I was like, I have no idea who that is. He says, that's Joey Jordanson's sister.
Oh, wow.
And I said, he says, but I think it's spam because she don't have anything on her Facebook, like just to profile picture and that's it. And I said, I have no idea. Well, then next thing you know, we got a message from her and wanted to know more about Broken Strings and talk a little bit. So I ended up calling her, and we sat down, and I talked to her and her husband.
I do want to say, Joey Jordison, Slipknot drummer, for those that don't know.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Joey Jordison is the late, great, and amazing drummer for Slipknot.
Yeah.
He passed away in 2021, I think, 22.
Yeah. Something.
And she's like, hey, we're trying to find a nonprofit to partner up with, and Broken Strings just seems to fit perfectly about what we want to do with the Joey Jordison Charitable Fund. And I said, okay. She said, well, what would you think about giving some drums away? And I said, well, I was a drummer. I played drums in college and high school. And I said, yeah, that'd be fun, So we're going to team up with the Joey Jordison Charitable Fund and Pearl Drums, and we're going to give some drum sets away this next school year that's coming up, because summertime's hard to get a hold of kids and lock them down.
Dude, that makes me think, like, even if you did it, like, I don't know what the capacity is, but even if you give it to, like, a school to use as their drum set, like, how awesome would that be? Because how many times have you been to, like, school competitions, you're like, this is your drum set? Oh, all right, I guess.
Terrible, yeah. I agree. And what a great family.
Yeah.
Like, they came to see me at Cabaret Sports Bar, and I met them there. They met my son there, and they sat there and hung out the whole night, and we just had a nice conversation. Then we FaceTime with the whole board of directors and them guys together. And because Joey Jordison, before he passed away, started a band called Vimic. And Vimic, they wanted to do an album, and he recorded all the drum tracks. And then he got sick after that, so nothing ever came out about it. This summer, they're releasing the Joey Jordison Vimic drum tracks on album, in September. And so they've been building up to that. So we're going to start after that stuff. But the family is putting all this out, and they're still making, Pearl Drums are still making the Joey Jordison signature snare drum. And,
cool.
And everything. So what a great grab. I mean, and we're going to try, I said, let's call it Broken Strings and Broken Sticks, and let's figure this out. Right?
Nice, Broken Sticks.
And so I was like, well, this is going to be cool, but I couldn't. And that was kind of an accident. I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just doing something good and somebody else takes notice.
Facts.
I think we all forget a lot about that, where, like, a lot of times you do good things nobody ever notices. Yeah. I mean, that even could come down to, like, you get done playing a song and not that many cheer, and it's just like, man, we crushed that song, and nobody's paying attention.
It happens.
But, sometimes other things are going on, but doing good things in life and other people taking notice. I mean, if anybody listened to the last episode with Christian McCoy, we kind of talked about that, where, like, you're almost just leading by example, and other people are like, I want to do the same thing for people that this person's doing, and that's just how you're doing good things, is when other people are like, oh, I want to help people the same way you're helping people,
Yep.
And the right people saw it, and sometimes it takes years.
I heard Zach Bryan's dad say one time, you do good things, you get to meet good people. And when you meet good people, you get to keep doing good things.
Absolutely.
And boy, is that true.
Absolutely.
I mean, so true.
Yeah. I almost don't want to say it, but, like, I had this argument with people, and I'm not the best at it, but, like, networking, there's more to networking than there is to actually playing the music sometimes,
Yeah.
Like, I would argue that somebody that's good with social media and a good people person in person to talk to people before and after shows would do better than somebody that's, like, more talented than them.
They can. It happens a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
it does. It really, really does happen a lot. So, it's been an honor to be able to work with these people and meet these people. And it's only watching the direction of where Broken Strings is going, because, it takes a while to get her. We started with no money at all. I paid for the 501c3 through, I got a tax income, or my tax return from FedEx one year. And that's how it started. We started with no money. Then we built money. Then we start buying guitars and start giving some guitars away, right? Well, then you have to keep raising money on top of it.
yeah.
And I was doing that all by myself. And now when the board and I got together, and we started talking, I was like, I know so many musicians anymore. Maybe they want to help too. Mm-hmm. I can't do this by myself.
Yeah, drive all over the place. I mean, you are fairly centrally located, but like I said, we didn't even make it up to the corner of Iowa yesterday. It took 2 hours.
Right. Right. Imagine going there to give one guitar away or 2 guitars away, and then drive back home.
200 and some trips.
Holy cow.
Oh, gosh. It'd take forever.
So we started this ambassador program, and it isn't really, if you want to help Broken Strings, we'll take your help. And Lee Klett and Adam Klett and the boys, they jumped on. Liv McNair jumped on. Jordan Beam, Michael Bernard, and I kind of took it from the Midwest MCMO because that's what I was comfortable with or familiar with.
Yeah.
And they're killing it. And it helps so much. And now we got this big map, and we're starting to close in these areas, and it's kind of cool to see this big map and all these areas closed in, and the guitars that we've given away, and there's some school district that we've given away 2 guitars to, because why not? That's what we're here to do, is give guitars away.
Yeah.
Well,
some are probably more accessible than others. Some are probably more responsive than others, et cetera, et cetera.
And then that's still an issue.
Yeah.
We still have an issue with trying to get a hold of children for these guitars. So if you're listening to this or you're watching this, we're trying to find kids, always.
Wherever you're at in the state of Iowa, if you know somebody, I don't care if you're listening in, the Carroll area and you're like, I know somebody in Keokuk,
Right.
Like, get a hold of somebody, let them know, put them in touch.
Yeah. But we'll come and find it, or one of our ambassadors will, and I'll meet Lee, like in Des Moines, hey Lee, here's 5 guitars. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yep, cool. I got 5 kids. Adam's going to give away a couple too. And I was like, perfect. That'll work, and they love it.
Yeah.
Because, we're giving guitars away and like I said, it is so much bigger than an idea of what it is now. It was an idea. And then, I got it started rolling. But without the ambassadors and the board of directors and none of this would be able to. And I'm looking forward to what's coming next year. Mm-hmm. We're teaming up with Nick Nurse and the Jordanson family. I want to see Corey Taylor come to a Broken Strings event and play with us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How cool would that be?
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if a handful of the Slipknot guys kind of jump in on this, or like it doesn't just have to be like, oh, the Slipknot guys are going to jump in on this and help out, but like there's a lot of people I feel like that. It just, again, as long as you do this enough and the right people are just like, wait, what's this thing?
Yeah.
And then,
right.
Okay, yeah, I'll jump in on this. Like, I could see people that have absolutely nothing to do with music just being like, this is a great cause, here's a check or something, you know? Or even like, you are a nonprofit, an actual nonprofit company.
501c3.
So if you're looking to donate money, if that's like your goal, you need a tax write-off or something, and you're looking for something, this is an option.
It is.
This isn't just like a flighty company that's just kind of goofing off, and we're nonprofit. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So people can donate money and get the tax write-off.
Absolutely.
So, do you guys have a website?
Yep.
All right.
broken-strings.org.
I will put a link down below.
Yes. And we're looking for somebody to kind of take over the web design aspect of it. More professional, probably. When we started it. And so we're always looking for that. And we're looking for volunteers, So the golf outing, June 14th, Carroll National.
I think it's the first time we said the date. June 14th.
Is that the first time I said the date? June 14th.
Yeah.
Carroll National. Looking forward to it. They got 10 o'clock shotgun start. They got golfers. There's only 18 teams that are playing. I don't know exactly how many teams they got. I think they have 12 right now. So there's still room.
Still a couple spots.
There's still a couple spots left open, and there's a lot of those golfers. They're like, we'll wait till that week and then see if it's going to be sunny or not, right?
Yeah, And I get that too. I mean, like maybe you're someone that golfs every weekend, and you're just like, I'm going to see. It's kind of like us with shows. It's like, what are you doing? Because we have this thing that we're going to do. It's a little party barbecue, and you're like, I'll wait to see what I have for bookings.
I'll let you know that day.
I'll let you know. So there are those people, and I get it.
And then we're going to do. We got live and silent auction that day. I do plan on giving a guitar or two away that day.
Cool.
Everybody wants to obviously take part of that and see that.
Yeah, photo op.
And then we got live music on the patio that night at Carroll National, and that's open to the public. anybody can show up, for the auction too. And we got stuff from like autograph signed footballs from Kirk Ferentz and Chuck Long, and tickets to games, to Iowa State football signed by Matt Campbell, and tickets to the games, from a giant smoker to, we got all kinds of stuff to auction off.
That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of people have donated items that way for us. We're going to do a couple cool presentations that night, not only to children and give kids guitars, but also to main supporters of us that have been huge supporters of us.
Nice.
And then live music on the patio from 6:30 to whenever we decide to stop them playing.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one, because I know that this is, again, there's enough musicians there that are comfortable enough and interchangeable enough that you don't know what's going to happen. You could end up with a couple songs of somebody just walking on stage and grabbing a guitar.
True story.
And as a musician, that's one of my favorite things ever.
Yep.
So here's the two ways I look at this, and one of them's maybe not the nicest way, but it's just like, yeah, go up here and play with somebody. You'll have fun. It'll sound different, and then when we get back to the regularly scheduled programming of me playing, it's like, oh, these guys have played together, or the person goes up there and just destroys and shreds, and we get the coolest, funnest surprise in the world out of this, and it's just like, play another one.
Right. True story. Kind of like Byron always says, right? Live music only happens once, so you don't know what's going to happen. Oh. Nick Nurse plays.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he plays. He loves bands. He's got like a whole band, I guess. And so, how cool would that be if he got up and played?
Get up there.
I really hope I know he's going to be there that Friday night. And he said it's right around their draft time.
Okay.
Right. So he's like, listen, if I'm going to make it, if I'm in the Carroll area, I plan on being there. Right. And so I hope he's there. The Joey Jorgensen family will be there.
Cool.
So we'll meet Joey's family and stuff, and we might even have a little fireworks that night, maybe.
Oh, neat.
We don't know yet for sure, but we're just kind of letting it. Everything's just fully developing the way it is.
Yep.
We have our gist of it, and then the board's like, well, who are we going to get for musicians? And I said, well, we got a lot of really good musicians coming up. I said, why don't we just? I would like to do we always did the songwriter rounds, I was like, why don't we just kind of have a house band and kind of have a jam and just show them what we do at jams sometimes and how we can do it at jams. And I think it's going to be a hit. I really do.
Dude, it's so fun. Those kind of things are so fun, because sometimes you don't realize that, like, these people might have never played before, or they have, but they've never played this song before, or somebody's like never once heard this song. There's a lot of those that are,
or they play it on acoustic guitar, but they've never played with a band before.
Exactly.
Or now all of a sudden, now you're playing Can't You See, and you got a drum set, and you know what I mean, and that brings a whole nother level of energy to the group too.
That is also a muscle that people need to learn how to flex eventually, is like leading a band. Because some songs are like, it's chiseled out, here's the parts, and when we're done, and that's it. That's the song. But like, if you want to go with those free flowing kind of shows where it's like they're digging it, do another round of solos, like, you have to be the person up front, like, steering the band around.
If Ober and Pete want to rip on the lead guitar, you guys, hey, keep going.
Yeah, we're going around again. You know? But even as the other musicians, you have to know, like, oh, they're not walking up to the mic. We need to go around again, because the singer's not going up there. Right. Or like, there's these things, these cues you have to figure out.
I can't wait. That's why we decided to do the jam. I thought about maybe getting one big headlining band, or something like that. But I'm like, you know what? This is going to be more fun, I think, if we just let's show them how much talent we got right here, just in Central Iowa alone. And if more people want to come, that I know, like Todd Jasonius and those guys from Carroll, they have a band down there and they don't play out very often. But I know he's going to be there. And you know what?
Yeah, get up there.
I'll bet you he'll get up and jam.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the things is, like, as long as the song is slightly intuitive, like, most of the people can handle it.
Oh yeah.
But if you have like a 9-part song with like half measure changes in between stuff, it's like, that's a little different.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Not every song is as perfect for others, but like, yeah, going up there jamming. I want so many people to go to that show, because it's just gonna be so much fun. You said June 14th.
June 14th. Yes.
All right. That's what if somebody's a golfer and they're like, wait, you guys said there's still a couple spots open. How do they nab one of those spots?
All you got to do is email brokenstrings4ia@gmail.com.
Cool. And that's on your website, I'm sure, the email address.
Yeah, the email address. It's on our Facebook too.
Cool.
Check out Broken Strings Inc. INC.
Yep. I'll put a link to that down below too.
And
give it a follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow, share, and it's going to be a fun day. I plan on just being in a golf cart and probably riding around heckling everybody because why not?
It's gonna be so fun.
It's gonna be a fun day. We've got some good supporters out there of live music that I already know that are signed up, and they're staying in Carroll for the night and everything else, and they're ready to go. So I'm super excited about it. I'm very stoked about the jam sessions that we're gonna put on in the patio. We got a sound guy. Aaron's gonna do all the sound, so we don't have to worry about that. The sound's gonna be there. So
cool.
Yeah, that's another nice part about it.
Yes. Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about that. We can just go up and enjoy and play.
Exactly. Oh man, that's so much fun when you have that, especially with somebody. It's Aaron. Like Arbrick.
Yep.
So I've
indoor kid.
Yep. Worked with him before, so he's really easy to work with. So
yes.
those are my favorite. And not that some sound guys are easier not than others, but like if you're comfortable with them, you're just like, oh yeah, can I get a little bit more of this?
Right.
Or
and he's getting really good at doing what he's doing, and he's really wants to learn more and wants to do this, live music for a full-time job someday, So
yeah. I mean, some of that also is like we've played enough shows. This is or like gone to enough jam nights that we've learned how to be flexible though too. You go to shows, it's like, guess what? There's no monitors. Well,
play without them.
Yeah, I'll do without.
Yeah.
And there's some people that are just like, I can't.
Right.
I don't know how. Or like
I can't hear myself.
Yeah.
Really? Well, okay. We'll turn up the main a little bit.
Too bad, I guess. Like I don't know. There's that weird fine balance of like I've learned from venues that are just like we have a house PA and it's like two 10-inch speakers
right.
and like some Junko
from
mixer.
1974.
It's like okay, well these things are blown out, but we'll do it, I guess. And I've gone to played shows in places like that to like with professional sound people with their own equipment. It's like you learn to be flexible, but that's another thing. Sometimes like I always go overkill when I show up to shows. So it's like I'm going to a jam night. All right, I bring an amp and a guitar.
Yeah.
So like that way, if I need to, I have my own amp. But if somebody has one, I can bring my guitar. And if somebody doesn't need any of that, then I don't have to take anything out of my car.
Right.
But then I also do the thing where it's like I'll go places and it's like I always have an extra mic and a mic stand in case I need to mic up my guitar for whatever reason.
Yep.
Or I have another mic and another mic stand in case I need to sing, So
Yep.
I always bring like these extra things with.
I drive a van for a reason. Yeah. It's like, hey, you got some strings in that van? Yep, I'll grab you some. Here, hang on.
Probably an open pack around here somewhere.
You got a mic stand? Yeah, hold on. Let me grab it.
Dude, that was my favorite one where you're just like, there's a mic stand in there, but you have to like go in here. It's in the middle over. I climbed over stuff and around things because you were like, you were packed up because you were going to a show afterwards. I think we were playing like an early show somewhere and you stopped by for a second. I didn't have a mic stand. And you're like, you're going to have to go get it. And I remember climbing in there like, I can't find it. And I just was like, no mic stand for me, I guess. But
no. And I try to keep extra stuff. You always got to.
Yeah.
You never know.
It was in there. I just didn't want to fish it out was the thing.
I need to start carrying another guitar with me. I'm always afraid one of my guitars is going to, or a board. What happens if your board goes out or something, And then you're like, oh, good Lord.
Dude, that's my favorite thing with Jesse was like, he had a little small board and then I ended up like selling him one of mine that I had, this small board that had like effects and some other things that his didn't.
So you could get by.
So he, if I don't need it anymore, so he's using that one and now he's got two.
Yeah.
But then he ended up giving his little board to somebody else.
Yeah.
Just like, kind of just passing it all along. And as he bought a new mixer, but he's got this new mixer that's, I would say like, it's not like crazy cool, but it's just a nice mixer.
Yeah.
And,
digital.
Yeah. And then if that one breaks down, we have to go back to this little analog board. It's gonna be so funny if we ever have to. But
I like the analog.
I do too. But it's fun because he carries it with him just in case.
He does.
It's like
he asked me that the other night when we were playing. We did a private party, clear up over by the Alton at the train station. Mm-hmm. It was Granville, I think was where we played at. And he's like, what do you do if your board goes out? I'm like, you just don't play it, or either that or you make a Facebook post and see if somebody can come up with a board somewhere, I suppose. Oh, I got another one here, well, that's probably a good idea. Just mine's analog, right? I like that pot. I like having that pot and the knobs right there.
Yep, the sliders and faders.
Yes.
So there is other thing. I have watched one person and it's just okay, I don't want to be like this person, but it was Matt Woods. I watched him do a show once with just a main with 2 inputs.
Really?
And he just mixed it in the back.
Oh, into the back.
Here you go.
I could do that too.
Yeah, if you're just a solo one-person thing, that is a possibility.
Yes.
And then if you need to tie 2 together, you can line out, line in.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility you can do that, but
technology is just crazy anymore, isn't it?
It's
I mean,
wild.
you can't keep up. I mean, really, all the money in the world, I don't know if you can still keep up. You know, like the new QSC, the columns that they got. Now they Bluetooth each other. You don't have to run a speaker wire. They Bluetooth each other and they run in stereo.
That's
it's
awesome.
Like, what?
That's
Where
so
did
cool.
that come from?
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun thing. Like, but I will say this though, like the one thing you can't forget is a guitar, or like the one thing that can't fail,
Correct.
because you can't replace it. Because it's like, if you have a cable go out, well, guess what? I'll rob a mic cable from somewhere and we'll make do or whatever. You know?
Don't ever forget your guitar.
Yeah.
Right, Jesse?
It happens. But I mean, even you were talking about like, I need to bring a second guitar to shows, just in case one of mine fails,
Yeah.
What happens if it's just the perfect situation happens and you break a tuner or something, or like a headstock or the bridge cracks or just something weird happens and you're like, oh, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah, call somebody and borrow a guitar somewhere.
Yeah. I guess I never really thought too much about that because I only bring one acoustic to all the acoustic shows. But Jesse usually brings his and his backup. So if one of us fails, we could use the backup. But still, like, what if they both fail? Or whatever.
And I need to do that more often. And I'm getting better at doing it. But there's sometimes like, it worked last night. It'll work today, right?
Bingo. Yeah.
Let's just go.
Yeah. I do that too, where it's just like I didn't take it out in between the show Wednesday and the show Friday, so let's just I just take it out, put it back in the car, drive to the next show, go.
My biggest problem is strings. I know I go 3 gigs on a set of strings, right? And that's really a good set. But then sometimes I stretch them to 4 and 5, right? And I know I need to change strings and I don't. And then plunk, 10 minutes into the show, sure enough, you break a string. It's like, why didn't I just change it?
I don't know what the deal with it. I have gotten so good at not breaking strings. I cannot tell you the last time I have broken a string.
You better knock on wood for that one too.
Absolutely not. Like, I don't know what the deal is, but I'm also the same way you are. Like, some of it comes down to especially with electrics, if they break in the same spot, you got a setup issue, the saddles or something are weird, but like, or you're playing strings that are too light and bending them too hard or whatever. But I usually play fairly thick strings, so they're not really going to break probably, or
might play 1152. So
yeah, I think that's what I might do a 1256, but like I do some, but we also are half a step down, or that's how I like to tune my guitar, at least a half a step or a full step down, and then I just adjust as I
give Jesse hell for that all the time.
Yeah.
You're half step down again, man.
I just
that line up with my dots.
Yeah, Dave Schmieder. Yeah, that's him too. We got to play on the dots. What are we doing here? Oh, we're in A sharp. Oh, that's neat. That's cool. So there's a lot of stuff where I don't know. Just by the way I do it and the virtue of that, like I haven't broken a string in a long time, but I always have like extras. So
broken strings.
Broken strings. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's one of those things. I do want to say, as we are getting kind of close to the end here, let me double check the timing. Yeah, we are getting kind of close, but like once again, brokenstrings.com or no, broken-strings.org.
Yeah.
Links down below. The link is down below. Yep. Don't go anywhere other than scrolling down and just click that link.
And if you want to sign up for the golf outing, email us at brokenstrings4ia, or you know what, just reach out to me. We'll get you signed up.
Yeah.
It's $125 a person.
Cool.
So $500 a team. That includes cart, lunch, and you get a gift bag with some pretty cool swag in there.
Cool.
Yeah. And if you're a business that wants to sponsor a team, get involved and sponsor a team. I think Good No is going to do it. I think Go Goodies is going to sponsor a team.
Cool.
Good No.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, I think maybe Amigos said something about it too. So that's cool.
As far as golf outings go, for something you can put your corporate name on, like I've been around a few of them recently. That's a pretty cheap one.
Yeah.
It's pretty inexpensive to put your name out there on something.
It is. And this is our first time doing a golf outing like this. So, this is all new to us too. I'm not a golfer anymore. I haven't been a golfer for a long time. I used to play a lot of golf, but everybody on the board golfed. I like to golf.
I hit a golf ball last night.
Did you really?
Yeah, somebody had a bucket of balls and they kept saying it was a 3-iron.
Yeah.
But it was a 6-iron.
Oh.
And so sure enough, everybody's hitting them and getting laughed at and whatever. And every now and then somebody hits one and everybody runs around,
Yeah, of course.
So we take our like first break and just like, Jesse, how many balls are in there? He's like, yeah, there's one in here. And he flips it out and he hits it. He kind of tops it, but like this thing went like a billion miles an hour because Jesse's like a big dude hitting a golf ball.
Right.
So this thing's like a million miles an hour, like a rocket, just straight. It's like, oh, geez. Like imagine if you got under that thing, it would have went to the river or whatever. So we go play and we get to the second break and I look in the pick a golf club and it's like, how many? There's one golf ball left. And somebody's like, is there a golf ball in there? I was like, yeah. And they're like, go ahead and hit it. So I get it out there and I just blast this thing. And I used to golf when I was younger. I haven't golfed in a long time and I'm not very good at it. Let's just say that. Like I golf on cheap courses where they're okay if I ding up the fairway a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So that's my golfing. I don't go to nice places because I don't want to ruin anything. But I hit this ball very well, and nobody was there to watch it other than this one guy. And he's like, God damn. And I was just like, yeah, I kind of wish more people were watching.
Yeah.
But I know if more people were watching, I would have just shanked it, you know. I probably would have somehow hit somebody behind me.
It's I used to play a lot. And then when I started working for FedEx and I had kids, I didn't get home in time to do the couples nights or the tournaments on the weekend. And I only live across the street from the golf course here. You know how nice it would be just to walk right over and go for it. But
I mean, that could be something. I know there's a few people in the Fort Dodge music scene that do play golf every now and then. That could be something you could do. Like, I don't know how much memberships. I know memberships aren't really like cheap or anything, but like if you go do memberships at a place, like it wouldn't hurt anybody if you just went out there and golfed 3 holes and came back, you know?
Yeah, right.
So like,
I agree.
That would be like, that'd be at my speed of golfing. Just kind of go out there when I know nobody else is there and just hit a couple and be like, all right, I'm coming back.
It's fun. I'm better off on a golf cart drinking beer.
The MC of the event.
And I plan on going out and just heckling people, and it's gonna be a fun day. There's a putting competition that's going on. There's a hole-in-one competition. If you get a hole-in-one, you get a pretty big prize from Wilkie Clother and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, there's some. So it's a fun day and going to be a fun day, and it's going to be full of music and friendship and fellowship and just having fun. It's going to be. I hope it goes. This is our first time, so we'd like to make it an annual event every year and continue to do it.
You ever seen anybody hit a hole-in-one?
I have not personally.
I saw it once.
Really?
Yep.
How cool would that be?
I was and this was when I was younger. I was golfing with my uncles, and they all golfed or whatever. And like one of them bought me my first set of golf clubs. So we're out there golfing or whatever, and we're doing like $1 a hole, whoever can get closest. And I don't win anything because I'm a kid and they're good. But there's one I'm like 6 inches from the hole because it's all par threes.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, snap. I'm getting $1 from everybody. Like, I'm coming back, everybody. The guy right behind me hits a hole-in-one.
Oh.
And we're all just standing there like, where'd it go? I think it went in.
I've heard, I know a lot of people that have done it just right out here,
Oh, really? That'd be fun.
I've never witnessed one personally, but that'd be pretty darn cool if you did.
It is fun.
You always watched when Tiger Woods, when he was going that famous, when he was going up to the Masters, and everybody's like, hole in one, hole in, they're chanting, and he goes up there and nails a hole in one. I mean, what are the chances of that really happening like that?
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the closest I ever got was 6 inches to get a hole in one.
I'll still heckle the hell out of you. I'll be like, you suck, jackass.
Yeah, hey, it's an easy par if you get 6 inches from the pin on your first shot.
It is an easy par. I would probably somehow mess that up.
You only got 2 shots. So.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, that's gonna be super fun. I can't wait. That's the whole reason I wanted to bring you back on here was to talk about that golf outing. I'm not much of a golfer, so I will not be golfing, but I will be there participating and enjoying myself because that is going to be a very fun time. So that's in Carroll, Iowa, June 14th. If you need more information, go to the website down below, Broken Strings. Follow them on social media so you can get all the posts and all the talks about that. If you want to have a team, email them. It's right there on the website.
Yep.
And if you guys listen to this and you don't golf and you can't make it to Carroll, but you think this sounds cool and you want to donate money, is there a place to donate on the website?
Yep. You can donate. We have links to Venmo, and then you can send a check also, whatever you need to do.
Beautiful.
And that's basically what it's all tax write-off, 501c3. So,
yeah.
Nick Nurse he's matching up the first $2,500, and then Joey Jordanson's charitable fund and his family are matching up to the second $2,500.
Oh, cool.
So awesome. I couldn't ask for better people to jump on board and be involved, and I can't wait to see what the growth of Broken String is going to do next year.
Yeah, man, you never know what's going to happen. The power of music, the power of art, the power of just people doing good things for other people. This is you turn on the news, you get on the internet, and it's just a bullhorn of negativity
all the time,
and
I get so tired of it.
And that's why this podcast is what it is, because it's not that, because that stuff's easy to find, and this stuff, we're championing the good things out there. The good people doing good stuff and fun stories. And again, even if you don't golf, go grab a bite to eat, just hang out with some people, walk around. You never know who you're going to talk to.
Listen to the music at night. If you don't want to come golf, come listen to the live music. We're going to have a jam session on the patio.
Bring a lawn chair, maybe, or
I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that now.
I'm going to have to bring a lawn chair just in case.
Bring one just in case.
Yeah,
but
toss it in the trunk.
I'm just you're right. There's a lot of negativity in this world anymore, and I hate that the media just spews on it.
Yeah.
Right? But there's a lot of good that still happens around here.
Yeah.
Let's keep that going. Let's focus on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that was something I pulled out of the last episode. It was the only reel I've made out of these new, like, the shorts or like TikToks or whatever. And it was you just being like, let's all just be nice to each other.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It sounds like such a novel idea.
What it is. I mean, you know what? Yeah, I may not like this guy very much, but you can still be nice and be sociable to the dude.
And that's why music's great, because how many times have we sat and played music next to people that, not that we don't like them, they're not our friend, we don't hang out with them and talk to them, but you still have to have an air of professionalism. And then after being in a band with them, playing half a year of shows with them, all of a sudden it's like, now you're texting this person and you're actually their buddy.
Yeah, you're your friends.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
Just be kind. I mean, if everybody could just be kind to each other, and this world would be a hell of a lot better place to live in, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing your part, that's for sure. I mean,
we're trying.
You've always been somebody that's been championing not just the podcast, but me going out playing shows. You invited me to play a show with you, and it's just, I remember just being like, I'm not sure, I don't know if I'm good enough to play. And you're just like, shut up, just get out here and play the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'll do it. But so you've always been so positive towards me, towards everyone else. It's always been one of the things that I think you can hang your hat on and be proud of yourself for. And if the world had more people like you just looking to do nice things in the world, it'd be such a more positive place. So I gotta say thank you. Again, check out that golf outing, follow Broken Strings anywhere. I'm going to put your links for Scott Kirkhart music underneath of all that. So if you guys want to go watch Scott play somewhere, be sure to check that out as well. You played Tapped in Clear Lake. I remember that was something we played there the week before, and basically any chance we had, it was just like, if you like this song, Scott wrote this song with Jesse, so go watch him next weekend, because he'll be here.
Yeah. And we've written some good bangers over the few years.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah, I played there last night. It was another great crowd again. Always at Tapped.
That place is so fun.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you for this. Again, we're taking time out of our days on our afternoons off.
Yep.
Basically,
it's a Sunday fun day now.
Yep. Okay, we got this small window. Let's get this taken care of. All right, let's do this. So, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
Thanks for having me, Pete.
Absolutely. There you go, everybody. What do you think of that one? There's a lot of cool things happening with Broken Strings lately, so I want you to make sure you go down below, check out the links, make sure you follow them, make sure you check out the event. It's the first annual Strokes for Strings. Yes, the Strokes for Strings golf tournament, and it's going to be really cool. So if you got a team, sign up if you want to. Otherwise, if you can't be there, you can donate. There's all sorts of auctions and things like that going on. I can't wait to go. It's going to be such a fun time. So be sure and support a good cause and check that out. And if you've never heard of Broken Strings before, this is a great way to kind of get involved and figure out what it is. So check out all the links down below. And also, if you've never heard Scott Kirkhart play before and you found this by looking around and trying to find more about that Broken Strings golf event, be sure and check out his links down below and check out his music and go see him live. He plays a lot of shows. It's weird because I feel like I play a lot of shows, but it's funny talking to people who play like twice as many shows as I do. It's like, oh, Yeah, they play a lot of shows. I don't play a lot of shows, but it's all about perspective, isn't it? Yeah, this episode was great. It's always fun talking with Scott. We always get off on little tangents and talk about fun things. So I was really glad to be able to sit down and talk with him in this little pocket where we both had some free time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you very much, Scott, for joining me. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you to the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. They got an episode coming out tomorrow on their podcast, FDT. If you go to the website link down below, there's a link on their website to go to the podcast. So you can check out the podcast, video versions, audio versions, everything, all the good stuff. It used to be hosted right here on the Audible Farm channel, and it got big enough where they needed their own channel. So if you're looking for the audio versions of that, and you're like, where did those go? They're over on their own channel. And if you're looking for the video versions of that, you can find it on their YouTube channel. Otherwise, if you just know the Audible Farm YouTube channel, it's available there as well. I've got a little playlist of theirs sitting down there as well. So be sure to check out tomorrow's episode. I know it's going to be a great one. And if you're listening to this after the episode came out, then guess what? Their episode's out already. So go listen to their episode because you're done listening to this one. So thank you guys very much for listening. Thank you, Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. audiblefarm.com for pretty much anything. We're on all social medias. There's an online shop. There's a Patreon. All sorts of good stuff. So check it all out. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.